What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Pits Podcast. It's your host, JB, followed by my co-host, Beer Guy. What's up, everybody? Hope you're having a great Wednesday, a great week, and we got a super special episode for you guys. This one, we have funny car driver Blake Alexander joining us, and it looks like he's here right now. So let's go ahead and add Blake to the stage and say, "What's up, man? How you doing, Blake?"
Good. How are you guys? Good to see you guys.
Yeah, good to see you as well, man. Thanks for coming on today. We really appreciate you carving out some time for us and sitting down and talk with us.
Yep. Yep. What's up? How have you guys been?
We're doing good, man. We're doing good. You got a fellow North Carolinian talking to you here, and Beer Guy. You guys aren't too far from each other in the neck of woods there, and I'm hanging out in California where the weather's nice and warm today, so no complaints from us, man.
Yeah, it's still a little bit of a recovery process after 105-degree temperatures every single day over the weekend, and then taking a red eye back home. But it's nice to be back in some normal weather here in North Carolina.
Oh, I
Did you
bet,
get
man.
back home and your car covered in pollen?
Yeah, actually, it was. It was kind of crazy that when I left, I don't feel like the pollen was that bad. And my wife even washed the car on Sunday in the driveway. And when I showed back up, I was like, maybe she washed the other car. But it was definitely that car that was covered in pollen.
It's wrecked me this week.
Yeah.
My wife's family lives on the other side of Raleigh, and it's just we went down there, and it was come back home, and I can't. Told JB, I said I can't breathe hardly today, so it might be rough.
Yeah, it's about like that around here right now.
Yeah.
So.
Well, so tell us a little bit about the weekend in Arizona. Like you said, it was super hot. How did that change your approach to the weekend? Did it kind of change your mindset going into things, or did you kind of keep it in the same groove you normally do?
I kind of thought we would do a little bit better than we did. We kind of got caught on the very first run trying to be cautious, and we were only trying to run like 405 or 406, and it kind of just turned into that was the best run of the entire weekend on the first run. That's where the number one qualifier was set, and very few people moved around other than Chad running 399 on Saturday. I don't think anyone else ran in the threes the whole weekend until Sunday. But yeah, so we just made a little bit of a mistake there, and then the air started to get worse and worse, and the barometer kept climbing, and we were taking all the clutch flows off the car, basically like not even running them on some of those 148-degree track temps, but it would make the car put cylinders out, and a lot of people were fighting it too. When I talked with other crew chiefs like Stretch from Hagen's team, he was saying the same thing, and we need to do better when those conditions come around, because those are conditions that a small team can win in, but at the same time, it's not as easy as it seems when the track's that hot, and it changes from like, with them moving the times up, the morning run was actually okay. And then the afternoon run, I think I've been doing this like 15 years, and I don't think I've ever seen 148-degree track temp. Like,
Yeah, that's pretty insane to see on from a fan's viewpoint. I was watching and I'm just like, I don't understand how this could truly be something that is getting from the morning sessions were a little bit nicer, and then just within like an hour it was like brutal, unbearable conditions. It's something I've never seen as a fan watching.
I mean, it's fine actually that they moved everything up, other than that we had to get up at like 5:30 every single morning and get out there. But we, the track, some of these tracks hold up okay when it gets hot out, and you can run like testing sometimes when they're prepping the track over and over again. I've seen people run 388 when the track's 120 plus, 125, and not just like a couple of the select good cars. A bunch of people can, but then some of the tracks when it gets above 125 or anywhere like that where the ambient light is just baking the track, it kind of turns into a little bit of a crapshoot where you're trying to figure out what do we need to do to slow this thing down. And as I kind of explained to people this weekend, like the cars aren't actually designed to run with none of the clutch flows turned on. You technically could turn all those off because you have to, because the track's that hot. But then when you do, you got to take so much fuel away from it that you feel like you're about to burn the thing up. And you kind of don't want to do that either. So you kind of get caught. You either take enough fuel away and figure out if you did a good job of that, or you turn all the clutch flows off and see if it puts a hole out. So we got a little bit behind the eight ball, but we kind of have had just a couple of little issues. We're trying to change the car over to be more like Chad's, and Last year at the end of the year, we were a new team and we kind of did good up until a certain point, and then we ran out of some of the clutch discs and other stuff we needed to continue and started a new, loop of what we were doing. And we're still kind of on that right now, trying to figure out the discs and figure out how things parlay with our clutch flow, or not. Our clutch flows are different last year, and now everything's a lot more similar. And we've gotten some of the stuff that we did well on the car, on his car, and they've obviously been running with it and doing well with the engine stuff they used to do, and a lot of the clutch stuff they still do with the secondary weight and the way they kind of manipulate all the clutch stops.
Well, that's cool. Speaking of Chad's car, what was that like sitting and watching him win in Gainesville? Was that pretty cool to sit back and watch the team owner, peel back another win in Florida?
Yeah, it gave me deja vu. And this time it made me a little jealous. The first time I was just enjoying it with him. The second time I was like, damn, I want to win one of these again. But we changed a lot of stuff, like going into Sunday even, and they kind of like were manipulating the power level too as the day went on, trying to make sure that they got down the track, and it actually kind of like helped pick the car up a little bit at times too, because the clutch would wear properly. And they just did a good job. I mean, I'm proud of Gene and like working with them, and we're trying our best to get both the cars more similar, and over time that should kind of turn into an advantage for us. I mean, honestly, last weekend, I don't want to sound like I'm not being negative about it, but there was times where we went up there and didn't hit it hard enough on the first run and put cylinders out, and they would go back and chop fuel off his car. And they were the last car because they're the points leader, and I was one of the first cars that I hadn't driven in a while, but they could kind of like make a read off what we did and also see some other cars run too. It always helps to see some other cars run.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's what kind of having a second car as a team owner, is essentially for, as well as, having another competitor out there, is to kind of balance off each other, I would assume, and just to have that advantage of one car going a little early and then being the last pair, like you said, kind of gives a little heads up for the second person going down the track. So, I mean, it's understandable for sure.
Yeah, last year we kind of got the clutch stuff where it was pretty similar, and some of the power, the way we made power was a little different. But this year it's all very similar, and we're trying our best to, keep both these cars running as competitively as we can each weekend for our sponsors, and just in general for the team juju. Everyone's a lot happier when the cars are running good.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of your sponsors, so you're very heavily involved in maintaining sponsorships. You've had the Pronto sponsorship for over 10 years now, correct?
Yeah.
How does that, how do you go about being so involved with the sponsors and also being in the seat?
I try on Sunday to really shut off like the whole sponsorship, or even like some of the technical stuff that I'm kind of involved in on the car, making sure it's assembled correctly with the guys. And a lot of the guys that work on the car I've worked with for a long time when I owned Chad's team and before I sold it to him, or on Vandergrift's team, or just when I've met them in the last 10 or 15 years. So but on Sunday I just really try to like turn all that off. I would say at times, I don't know, like it turns into a normal job, because during the week, like I sent tickets and did some VIP hospitality stuff for people in Pomona on Sunday today. We already have sent out a bunch of it. We're also making proposals and making small adjustments. And as events get closer, we'll like ask some local sponsors and other people to do stuff alongside with what we're already doing. And then you've got some associate sponsorships that I like would do calls with yesterday, and, just kind of like keep always balancing all of it, I guess I would say, and still not I don't know. It's a lot like being a parent. Once you get overloaded with stuff, you kind of have to make sure that you do everything well, and recognize that sometimes you're not going to be able to do everything great or one thing great because you are taking away from it. But I try not to let that happen, and try to kind of like lay everything out there as much as I can and do the best I can. I'm learning still.
That's a good analogy for sure about the parenting thing. You just kind of have to balance, and like you said, kind of go through the from A to B to C, and kind of find your way through it all. Our guy Beer Guy here, he's about to have his first child within the next handful of months here. So he'll be learning all that trickery on how to balance a million things all at once while trying to maintain your sanity at the same time. And but yeah, I think you did a great job. You're killer on being savvy with it. It looks like there's a lot of teams that can only keep a sponsor for one or two maybe seasons, and then things don't really peel off for them like they wanted to. So for you to have a Solid Rock sponsorship for as many years as you have is truly impressive.
Yeah, well, I do a lot of stuff like before I go to the racetrack. Even I normally plan on Thursday that I'm going to visit people that throw the box away of their auto parts and actually make a difference. And that can be like, it's a tradition that I visit some of these people because they're such strong customers, or quite honestly, we just ham it up and have fun together. And then there's some people that I'm getting introduced to for the first time, and they had done business with someone different. And it just kind of is the opportunity to talk to as many people as I can on the road and see who within the Pronto wheel kind of like I connect with, and teach them about nitro, show them nitro. I think everyone thinks the cars are really cool once they kind of understand it and understand that I'm not just some cute face, that I actually kind of like working on them and being involved in it too.
Right on, right on. Hey, Patrick, take over here. I got to check out something for a second. I apologize.
Oh, you're good. So, like, with Pronto Auto, I guess for me, like, I don't know what Pronto is. So, is there?
Yeah, it's a buying group that is a combination of, I would say, like 90 different independent family buying groups. Mm-hmm. And so there's a bunch of auto shops that have a choice to purchase from some of these bigger places, like, I guess you could say like Advance or AutoZone or Napa, and a lot of them traditionally have competed against them, so they don't really want to buy from them. So they buy in a conglomerate group, and it allows them to have competitive pricing and a bunch of other, warranty, technical support and stuff like that you would get if you were at Auto Care Center from someone else.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So you're a third generational racer, man. Was there any pressure for yourself jumping in a seat and going down the track, or was it just something like, you've been doing it, or at least you've been watching it your whole life? Was there any sort of pressure to get in the seat, or was it something that was truly just in your heart that you wanted to do?
I just wanted to do it. At first, I really didn't want to do it, and my family let me stray away from it. And then as I got older, I really wanted to do it, and my family made me like save up my birthday and Christmas, and when I mowed lawns in the neighborhood, or I started working when I was like 14 or 15 in a warehouse. So I kind of like got money saved up to do it and continue doing it and improve it. And then it also turned into, each step costs more money. So I had to come up with more and do more. And, I was fortunate that I've met some really cool people along the way. I was actually thinking about some of the networking of people that I've met, and it seems like kind of unimportant at the time, but over time you realize that really is kind of like how you skin the cat, if you will, when it comes to doing anything. I mean, much less funding a funny car, but just who you know, and it really does matter.
Yeah, absolutely. I see that you're hamming it up every now and then on the track with some of the other drivers, and it looks like you do have a pretty good reputation as far as that being friendly on the track, as well as being a competitor. So I think that you're right in the sense of having those connections to other people on the track is super important. Tell us about some of your friendships that you made on the track and on the way. I see you're pretty good friends with Vandergriffs, correct? If I've done my
research right. I'm friends with Jordan. I mean, I was texting him today, and I talked to Thomas Proc yesterday and asked how their test session went, and I'm pretty close with all of the Proc family, and kind of just know, a bunch of different people who I've raced with. We still stay in touch, and I was borrowing batteries for the Leahy command module from Tim Wilkerson this weekend, and kind of like Dave was coming over and helping us with some small electrical stuff on the car, even though we were racing ahead in the first round. So he knew I was having problems with some stuff, and just kind of stay in touch with a bunch of different people. Gary Pritchett and Ron Douglas are my friends, and I was happy to see them winning over in IHRA. And I just have a bunch of different people that I kind of hang out with, and I don't ever take myself too seriously, even though sometimes, like, when I'm doing stuff like this, I'm a little bit more guarded, I guess. But I take it seriously once you're in the car and it starts, but it doesn't really help if you stress about it, if you know what I'm saying. And I like to laugh.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool. Speaking of the hood, the Wilkersons, Daniel was your crew chief at one point, correct?
Yeah. I kind of convinced him in 2019 when I bought all that stuff to come back on the road. And eventually at the end of the year, he decided he was quitting his real job and was going to come do the drag racing thing full time. And Joe Serena and Daniel and I kind of ran that car together as like a group under Tim's guidance. And Joe is now the crew chief on Chad's car with Dean. And all three of us kind of got to learn a lot, trial by fire, literally sometimes by fire. Yeah. And, we had fun and got to kind of like, now on Chad's team, kind of like, it's not like the technical aspect of it is some big secret and you can't come up in and look at the computer. And we kind of just like make it that it's, if you sponsor this race car or if you support our sponsors, then this is your race car too. And you can come in and look and we'll show you exactly how much blower boost is making at a half second and talk to you about every different aspect of it that you may be wondering, and see the clutch, how it's working, and the clutch pressure and the different computer systems that run the car, and kind of just explain all of it to people who have, some interest in the technical side of it, because a lot of them are working on cars during the day anyway. And it's kind of cool to, show them what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. I was talking with Beer Guy here, and, he brought that fact up that, he was your crew chief for a while, and that you guys had worked close together.
I'm happy that he gets to drive a car now. He kind of, I always thought, deserved to get to drive one. And I'm glad that opportunity came to him.
Yeah, hopefully he, peels off a win here pretty soon. That's, everyone's always talked about how he would react after, getting the W, and that's just kind of something that's like, man, I would love to see that be cinema to watch. He's such a character out there.
He is a character. He's a good dude too. He gave me stuff. I had kids and talked to me. I mean, everyone kind of like goes through that where you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this. And then you need someone to tell you, kind of like I do for some of my friends now, is like, here's what you need to focus on. Here's what sucks. And then here's the 85-90% that's great. A lot of people don't tell you the parts that suck about parenting, but I kind of try to tell my friends, like, this baby is not going to want to see you for a whole year. They just want their mom.
Right. I was on with Elon Werner and them, him and Jason Logan. They got their podcast, and I said, hey, I'm fixing to be a dad. What do I need to do? And he's like, just make sure, if it's a boy, just make sure you got a towel over it, because you're gonna get peed on if you don't.
Yeah, so. I have 2 little boys, and I haven't gotten peed on yet, but I've always been pretty careful about it. Trying not to.
I'm going to do my best.
I can say that I've actually gotten the old super soaker every now and then, changing my little guy. He was like notorious for a handful of months there. Every time I'd peel the diaper off, and it was like, all right, well, let's go change the shirt and move on there. But we were thinking about the race in Arizona. And you were actually driving next to Ron Capps when he had his big explosion last season. From your standpoint, how did that, how did you take that all in?
I actually could see him, which is kind of funny. These Dodge bodies have a lot bigger windshields on them than some of the older body styles I drove. So I could see him pull out in front of me. And then it honestly just looked like smoke, or like he came over to the center line too, so it got all dusty and sandy, and I could just see like shit flying everywhere basically, and he was coming at me, and I got small, and I actually didn't even like finish running the car all the way to the finish line because I just got like freaked. I don't know. I got a little freaked out, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I was just trying to like get small, but also you don't really think that you're going so fast that like he's gonna like be 500 feet behind you by the time all that goes down. But yeah, I definitely saw it, and I didn't quite know what happened. I just thought I kind of thought he crossed the center line and blew up, but I didn't know that it was like as bad as what it was, if you know what I'm saying, until I got out of the car and it was like quiet down there and everyone was all worried about him. It was wild. He was out at testing the next day, and like that was a rough hit, and everyone's like, is he going to be okay? And then he just was walking around at testing the next day, and it kind of reminded me of like what he did at Pomona. Then he came out and he ran like 384 or 385, or he like made a really good run, and he, you kind of look like a hero. I don't know. It just, people don't realize what it's like once it blows up to have to get back in it and kind of like big ball it and just go down there and say, well, it ain't going to happen again, even though you guys may or may not know exactly why it happened. And it was cool to see him get back in the car and do that, because I know it's like not that easy. I had that one race in Sonoma where we blew up 3 times and I was all banged up, and then I came back to Brainerd, and that was one of the reasons why I was going so crazy, is because I was like, I just can't believe that we were lighting the entire trailer on fire. And then we basically showed back up, and the guys worked forever. Whenever that happens, people don't realize that you're like repairing the carbon fiber bodies and fixing all this stuff. And then eventually you just can't even like, fathom how hard all the guys have worked just getting it ready to drive all the way out there and then do their normal amount of work that they have to do too. And then it's cool when it all, comes together.
Yeah, I don't think that the NHRA driver gets enough love or credit when it comes to grittiness, toughness, like, football players and stuff like that do. I know it's a whole other brand of, contact and whatnot, but in my opinion, you guys are some of the, most grittiest, strongest people out there, because, I mean, like you said, you're blowing yourself up. You're strapping yourself to a rocket, things go left, and you guys jump right back in the seat and don't miss a beat in 9 times out of 10. And I don't think you guys get enough credit when it comes to the toughness of jumping back in the seat, because like I said, it's not only your physically and your body feeling it, but mentally you've got to truly get, how do you strap yourself back in after you just blew up, like you said, 3 times in a row, and be like, all right, yeah, this is something I want to do again because that was fun. I just kudos to all that. I remember Angie Smith wrecking, a few years ago, and she's back out there and wearing double walking boots, and she's out on the track, and it's like, dude, I just, you see baseball players, they, get a hangnail and they're like, oh, they're out for 6 months, It's like, I think you guys deserve more credit than you truly get.
Yeah, you just got to go send it and see what happens.
That's a great sentiment. Just go send it, because how else are you going to do it, for sure?
Yeah, if you want to do a good job at it, you can't really think about it. I used to like wakeboard and do, contests with that and snowboarding and stuff. And when you eat shit like on the board, you kind of have to go back and commit to doing the trick even harder, if you know what I'm saying. And that's kind of the weird part about driving the car, is you have to get back in it and like commit to doing it even harder, even though you don't want to, because mentally you're kind of just like, dude, did they actually fix this thing? And everyone can tell you like this valve hung or this or that happened, and or it's your fault because you did X, Y, or Z. But it's kind of like, at the end of the day, you're just sitting back in there by yourself with the motor.
Yeah, absolutely. Patrick, you got anything?
Well, you was talking about wakeboarding. Listen, I tried that one time. My big ass is not meant to get on one of those. So my wife does it. Her family, they go up to I don't know if you ever go to Carr Lake.
No,
Virginia.
My wife's family has a place on Lake Norman, so I spend most of the time up there when I go to a lake.
Yeah, we go up there. We went up the first time. I was like, first day, I'm gonna impress her. I'll figure this out. I'll get up on this thing. No, I ain't shit.
I could get you up on it, I bet. It helps if they have a boat that pulls you up too, because if you if you're like a bigger dude and the boat's just pulling you straight forward, like it's not up on the tower, it doesn't pull you like up out of the water. But I don't know.
We had it on the tower. It was
Yeah.
I think they've got like a Nautique or something, but I was like, I would get up and then it would just nosedive. I'm like, okay, I'm good.
I used to teach lessons, so I think I can get you to do it, but we'll see. Time will tell.
I would love to pay money to see you try and get up there, Patrick. Yeah, and that's just something that would be super fun to sit back and watch you do. Because, like I said, I cannot get up on my board myself. I tried it back when I was in high school, and it was like, yeah, just I'd much rather be the DJ on the boat. It was, picking the tunes.
Yeah. My friends are asking me to go out. One of some of the guys on Clay Milliken's team have a boat, and they were asking me to come out on Friday, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to make it. And then I looked and saw it's going to be 86 degrees, and I kind of want to go now, but I'll see if I can figure all that out. And I'm pretty sure my wife's on call this weekend, so I kind of like plan around that.
Our weather looks like a roller coaster right now. So
yeah, you wake up and it's cold, and then by the middle of the day you're sweating, and then the next day it's too cold and your kids are wearing like snow coats outside. And then the next day you're like, dude, it's 86.
Yeah, it's something else. And with North Carolina weather, I think it gets drunk.
Well, we think that the first cool race this year might be Charlotte, and it's normally not even that cool of a race. I mean, I looked the other day, and Pomona's going to be like in the 80s, and that's another place where if the track gets hot, it kind of turns into a crapshoot as well, and like you can't go as fast as you think you could because there's bumps and you're basically racing in a parking lot. The track kind of has bumps like a parking lot.
Yeah. So now your schedule, what does it look?
I run like 4 of the next 6 races or something like that, I think.
Okay.
So, I don't know. We rotate, and there's some stretches where he's in the car and gets a couple races in a row. And then there's some stretches during the summer where we just alternate, like Seattle and Sonoma. And then towards the end of the year, I run like most of the races like I always have. I think I don't Vegas or something like that, and maybe Rockingham.
So is the goal like with Chad Green and everything, with Hunter starting to get some experience in funny car and everything, is the goal to eventually you and Hunter be kind of the ones?
I don't know. I think Chad's going to keep racing for a long time. I think we're just trying to get sponsors to do as much as we can and do it as well as we can. And honestly, we all have a lot of fun doing it. I know that sounds like, you're supposed to be out there saying that you want to win a world title and all that, but pretty sure one of the John Force racing cars is going to figure out how to win a world title this year, or some Matt Hagan's team, someone like that. And maybe we are challenging for it with Chad's car at the end of the year, but we kind of just are trying to take that day by day and just see what we can do, and then have fun at night when we get the cars put away, and then show back up and, take care of business during the week and be with our families, and then show back up and enjoy burning nitro with the crew.
Yeah, I think I was at Bristol, and I guess Chad, I guess you were probably there too. I noticed Chad, and I guess all the guys were down there at the bar at the Hard Rock Casino in Bristol when I was there, and they were just all cutting up and having a good time. And I was like, that's what it's about right there. Because I know I was in NASCAR for 3 years, and anytime you can get a chance to get away from everything and relax is perfect.
Well, you got to remember too, a lot of us all dreamed of doing this at one point, so it's kind of cool that we get to do it.
Absolutely.
And then enjoy it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we got a few more here. We normally ask every guest this, but your Mount Rushmore of NHRA drivers.
Jordan Vandergriff. No, I'm just kidding. I guess I would go like Blaine Johnson, John Force, Snake, Garlitz.
That's super good. That's great. Speaking of Snake, how was that being complimented by him on air this weekend? I know he had some super complimentary things to say about you.
Oh yeah, my friends told me that they were like, "You're gonna like what he just said about you," and I had no idea what they were talking about. And then I listened to it on Sunday morning randomly because I was trying to see when the parachutes were deploying on the car and some of the other stuff on the auto shut off, and I was like, "Oh, he's saying some nice stuff about me." But he, I don't know. I've talked to him off and on. I don't know him as well as some of the other people do out here, but yeah, he used to win and enjoy himself, and have fun with the ladies and burn nitro. I don't know what else you'd want from a guy.
Absolutely. Well, Blake, we truly thank you for your time and joining us here. We will see you on the track at some point this season. I know Beer Guy will be out to a few races, hopefully, and I'll be out in Sonoma. So we'll make sure to stop by, say what's up. And as you're always a friend of the program here, our door's always open. If you have anything you want to say, give us a shout. We'll, open the doors right back up. You're allowed to, air your grievances here at this podcast. If you have something great to say, this is the place to do it. Before we go, though, is there anyone you'd like to say thanks to, or anything that we didn't cover that you'd like to go over?
Just my sponsors and my wife. Thank you to everyone, who's working hard too. In between the races, the driver kind of gets to play hero and a lot of this, and everyone's working really hard to take care of them with all different aspects of life. So I appreciate everyone.
Right on. All right, Blake. Well, you take care, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay.
See you guys later.
Take care.
Thanks.
All right, everybody. That was our guest today, Blake Alexander. Hope you guys enjoyed that. There's some great cuts definitely out of that one. We'll be throwing this bad boy up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. So if you missed anything, you want to go back, it'll obviously be up here on YouTube. And we're going to take a little break here. We're going to hear from Drag Race Bracket Bonanza, and then we will go over the Beer Guy League. So we will be right back.
Drag racing fans, check out Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. It's the free, family-friendly fantasy bracket game. Now, after final qualifying at every national event, you can fill out your bracket for all the pro classes.
It's free, easy to click on your picks. If you need some help, just hit the randomizer button to fill in the blanks. It's for fun, stay engaged, and pick your winners today.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Let's join the full screen here.
There we go.
So if you haven't joined, make sure you guys join. Drag Race Bracket Bonanza is something super fun that I look forward to every weekend. I set an alarm to make sure in case life had gotten in the way, that I didn't miss placing my picks, because that kicked me in the butt last year. And I was in the running for some top place in some really cool leagues, and that really shot me in the foot. Our guy, Patrick Beer Guy here, has a league himself, and he's going to talk to you a little bit about that right now.
Yeah. So obviously, I did not do good this week. I sucked. I think I was 795th of the whole thing. But no, you got that graphic, JB?
Yep. Let me pull that bad boy up right now, and there we go. Beer Guy's graphic.
Yep. So we ended up. I didn't get everybody that was the winners of the week, so I'm a little behind on that. But this is updated standings after 2 races. We got Fast Eddie, who I think will be on here with us in a few weeks. He's a sportsman racer up in Pennsylvania. We got Abby Werner in second. Then you got Jesse Jambo, which he's the guy that found me at Bristol. So shout out to him. Big C 177. GG Steven 87, BK NHRA 1, and Bob at 8th. So I think you're in the top 10 actually now.
I'm getting there. I mean, I was shot in the foot by Greg Anderson losing out in first round. Otherwise, my pro stock was sick, dude. I mean, I had that one I thought was a lock, and that would carry me a little deeper in some points, but that one was just like threw my bracket away. I don't ever do so great in Top Fuel or Funny Car. I usually have my hand in the Pro Stock bikes and the Pro Stock category as my sugar class. That's the one I can truly eat on.
Yeah, I think I saw Dejanay or maybe it was Elon today. One of them was talking about, I think it was like 0.1% had McGahey picked. over Anderson. I would have not have thought Greg Anderson would have lost that race.
I honestly, like I said, if you watch back to last week's episode, I had him picked as the winner. I definitely had it going down to Dallas Glenn and Greg Anderson. So at least I had one side of the ladder that was okay. But I had my whole hand was being shown with Greg Anderson winning it, especially after the weekend he had the previous week or the previous race. So him going out first round was just absolutely bonkers. McGahey came out and just dropped the clutch on him and showed him, who's boss first round, which, kudos to McGahey, man. He's someone that's never, normally out of the race, but he's not one of the, Dallas Glens, Hartford, one of those names that are constantly talked about in the semis or in the finals. So to hear him get some love on the track and on the broadcast was super cool.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, him and Mason both. I mean, you always see them kind of maybe once or twice here and there, maybe bust up a bracket. If they're facing like a, I don't know, a Stephen Bell or a Matt Latino or Eric Latino, and you go, all right, there's a possibility for that. But when you go against Greg Anderson, you're going, I'm going to take Greg Anderson.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, there's three things in life that are certain: death, taxes, Greg Anderson being a winner in NHRA. So that was pretty astounding to see that happen. And I don't predict that we'll see Greg Anderson go out in first round too many more times this season. But who knows? I mean, life's crazy. Anything can happen.
Yeah, I'm looking at my bracket now. I was able to pull it up while we were talking. Yeah, it was brutal. So,
yeah. First race, Funny Car got everybody, our Top Fuel, and that was the one that really busted everyone's bracket. It was just a throw it out the window type of weekend first round for sure.
Yeah, I felt like everything in Top Fuel was fairly level. Like it wasn't. We didn't see nothing crazy. Like,
no.
You had, Billy Torrance beat Antron Brown in the first round, and then, but after that, it was like I could kind of see that, and then Leah beating Doug. I mean, I'm sure that messed up some brackets, and then Maddie beating Tony. I don't know. I was 50-50 on that matchup on there, but actually got our winners from this week. So it was Steve.
Yeah, let's hear him.
Steve and Fast Eddie finished 1 and 2, and then Top Fuel Steve killed it all the way around.
So
I mean, he won the overall.
Yeah.
Yeah. He won overall, won Top Fuel in our league at least. I don't know about the overall, but and then you got Allie Bland, which she won Funny Car in our league, and then my wife finished second in the Funny Car.
I saw that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, she was beating her chest a little bit at me because I really thought she had a good bracket in Top Fuel, but apparently not. She had the last two, I think, or no, she had Maddie Gordon beating Sean Langdon to go to the final.
Yeah.
But then Pro Stock, Nitro AJ, and GG Steven, and then like I say, we went over the main brackets. But yeah, I
think Steve wrapped up the weekend with quite a bit of W's. I know I was watching Shake and Bake yesterday, and he won their league as well. So whoever Steve is with such a, just a simple name, that's even cooler, just to be Steve and be winning things. Kudos to you, man.
He was in the chat yesterday on the Shake and Bake show, and I didn't realize. Well, I did realize it was him. Sorry, but I didn't realize he'd won as much as he had.
Right.
Whoever he is, I need to meet this guy.
I said, give me his number so I can pick his brain, because every week it is just terrible. Yeah, the code to join Beer Guys League, that's just all under or small caps Beer Guy, correct?
Yes, sir. All lowercase beer, just Beer Guy, and just make sure it's one word. But I'm at 60. Hold on, let me see how many numbers I'm at. I'm trying to get to 100 this year.
Yeah, are you still putting names on the car?
So the Caddy is kind of out of commission right now. It's got,
no.
those North Star motors. It's got a front main. I guess I should ask Blake for some parts.
Yeah.
It's missing a front. It's not missing. The front main seal's leaking and the rear main seal's leaking, and it's front wheel drive. And I just haven't had the patience to tear that North Star out of it and put seals in it. So it's out of commission. But I've got a Dodge Dakota sitting at the house, and it does a lot of smoky burnouts. So
Right.
that may be the new little fun toy we use to promote Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. I need to go to Shady Side down the road here and just like do something. Just take something crazy and just put a bunch of Drag Race Bracket Bonanza stickers all over it. Just do a huge burnout, just all the way down the track. Just get them talked in. Just let me just burn tires off of it all the way down the track.
That'd be a great promo, not only for them but for the show.
Yep.
I mean,
Put
we
the Pits
gotta set that
podcast right on the hood. And
we
just
can wrap that sucker, man. Let's wrap it.
Talk to Outlaw a lot, get them to sponsor it. I'll just sit there and drink Outlaw beer, just going all the way down the track.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Well, let's look at the Phoenix race since we're talking about the past weekend. We've gotten to it a little bit with Blake, but how insane was that for Ron Capps to blow everything up a second consecutive year, and then to have the turnaround like he did and make it back to the winner's circle? Showed a lot of grit, as a big testimony to who he is as a driver and where that team is as a whole. A lot of teams, they probably wouldn't have been able to make that turnaround. I thought the camera shot of him coming down pit road, making it back to the starting line was super sick. Kudos to the camera guy. I mean, we're already big fans of the camera guy. They got our beer guy on. That's how he made his name. So we knew they were already super stellar at what they do. But that drone shot was just killer, absolutely killer.
Yeah, it was crazy watching all that. Like, I was in and out because we were driving home from her parents' house.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. But just seeing the wreck, and I was like, all right, it's not terrible. But it's blew up. There's a lot of work to do. He'll probably make it back. But, that's a lot. It shows you a lot about Paul Lee and who he is, to wait for him. Although my pocketbook would have loved for Spencer Hyde to have won.
Threw a little bit down on that one, did you?
Yeah, I threw about $15 on him, but it was plus 1,400. So I was like, hey, it's gonna be a nice little cleanup. Let me hit this one real quick. Dejanay, if the wife doesn't have the baby, I will try to get there. If not, if nothing else, hit me up. We'll go eat some Mexican food here, and we'll drink cold beer.
Well, I'm jealous now. Dang.
But we're gonna have to figure out a race. You're gonna have to figure out how to either get this way, or we're gonna have to like meet in the middle. So.
Right. I'd love to get out there. I've never been farther than Arkansas. It's about the farthest I've been on the in the States. So to get on the other side of that would be super cool, I feel like.
Yeah, if you come, Bristol is crazy. It's something else. It's a beautiful landscape up there, and just the racing's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You're at a higher elevation, but now that they've got what they call a 2x4 out of the middle of the track, it should be a little bit better too. There's
this one track that follows the show. I follow them as well. And they don't hold any national events, but Alaska Raceway, since they started following, I've been watching their stuff, super close. And I'm like, man, the backdrop on that would be so sick to, go out there one day and watch any sort of racing. I don't know if you've ever seen that before, but check it out if you haven't. Alaska Raceway. They're on Instagram. You can see what I'm talking about, and it's super sick.
Yeah, I'll have to look. I'm gonna look it up right now,
dude. They like. Go ahead. They said don't forget, but yeah, they post stuff all year round, and like during the real thick of the winter season, the track is just a white wonderland, and it's like how how on earth does anybody race on this thing, man? But yeah,
Is that it?
Dude, I
That
mean,
is
you want to
epic.
talk about a picture perfect drag strip right there. Let's get the cars out there, you know?
Yeah.
We ain't got to worry about the heat.
Yeah, I would fly up there to go see that.
Dude, I mean, I know that would be a tough pull for people to get their big rigs all the way out there to Alaska, but like I said, I've been checking them out since they started following, and I'm a huge fan.
Yeah. So I guess back to what we're talking about.
Oh yeah, Arizona. We're on scatterbrain
Arizona.
here.
Yeah,
Let's check
sorry.
this out real quick. I wanna throw the Ron Capps win up on the screen here, and you guys can check it out real fast.
They're rolling, and there goes Ron Capps. What a victory for this team. 412 again.
How sick was that, man? The pure enjoyment out of his voice. Him at the end there with the trophies, pouring the monster all over it. Dude was having a great time. I mean, that's exactly what you want out of a winner at the end of the weekend, is someone, a reaction like that.
Yeah, I don't think either outcome. I don't think you would have had a bad moment out of Funny Car. You had either Spencer Hyde getting his first win for Jim Head, with Jim Head, or you had Ron Capps, who wrecked last year, comes in, was not qualified until the third round on Saturday. Then you turn and then comes in Sunday, wrecks or blows up, hits wall, and then comes out and wins. So either way, we were getting a storybook ending for Funny Car.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's also, I know Capps has always been a pretty exciting guy to watch and follow, but I feel like the addition to Maddie on his team and him being around Maddie and the person she is and the character she shows out on the racetrack is kind of showing even more now in Ron Capps as well. Kind of giving him a rejuvenation as a person out there on the track. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's it's a sight for the rest of the drivers to see, hey, we can be open. We can be cool. We can be laid back. We can be ourselves in front of everybody. We don't have to put up an act. We don't have to do anything. And I would encourage anybody that hires a driver going forward to do what they did with Maddie.
Yeah.
Because, she has no PR training. She's just Maddie. And that's what we get. So that's what, me as a fan, that's what I want. I want a driver who's just going to be themselves.
Amen. I don't, it's nice to have, I know Jordan Vandergrift does a great job at the top end when he's doing his, check out your Cornwell dealer and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not knocking that. That's his obligation to do, but it definitely comes off as, I don't want to say phony, because it's not phony, but it's definitely like he's reading off a teleprompter, as to where Maddie's like, I love America, I love Carlisle Tools, and I love drag racing. It's just a whole other feel to someone coming off the track.
Yeah. We've got the female incarnation of John Force in Top Fuel right now with Maddie Gordon, and it's awesome. So when I get to the track, I'm definitely getting a Maddie Gordon t-shirt. So hopefully she might not be able to shotgun a beer, but I'll shotgun a monster with her if she wants to. Yeah,
Tiger Woodish, you're right. It's definitely very professional. Like I said, I'm not knocking it, but it's just very corporate as well. Like Max says here. Well, Maddie's just pure emotion. You said it right there.
They pay the bills. So
that's what I say. It's not something that we're knocking, because the more you do that, the more these people will, stay with the sport. They're not going to sponsor someone who never utters their name. So like I said, I totally get it. Not knocking these people that do that, but I do like the authenticity of someone like Maddie that's just flying off the cuff, a John Force-esque, like you said. and you never know what you're going to get when they get on the other side of a mic.
No, and that's exciting for me.
Super, super cool. Looking at Top Fuel here, we had the number one qualifier, Sean Langdon, coming in out of the weekend, picks up his third in a row. Didn't even make a Q1 run on Friday there. Looked like the something broke it there at the top end. He didn't even move an inch. So that was an exciting start to the weekend to watch them. Kind of gave some people some goosebumps to go from that to being in the winner's circle. I know he had a really cool belt that he rocked at the end there. He the tech support, he beat the tech support this year. So what a cool weekend for him. The Coletta team is, it goes without saying, dude, they are some of the most badass guys out there. Pick one of them, JR, Doug, Sean, any given moment, those guys are picking up the W at the end of the weekend. So it didn't surprise me that Sean came out, ran like he did. I think he had 380 in every round, at some point. And, it was fun to watch him. I think he's finding his groove in Arizona. And if they could run every race at Arizona, that guy would be super happy.
Yeah, he was on a rail. He is the only person that I did not pick to win. I did not put any money on him to win. I thought, well, it's Leah, technically, she claims it as her home track.
Yep.
So I said, Leah, Doug, maybe Sean, but I didn't. I put some on Antron. I thought he had a really good run in at Gainesville. Thought, hey, might have something here with this one.
It's never a bad bet to throw some money on Antron. That's my goat right there. I don't play around. I tell, if anyone asks me, Antron's my guy, win or lose. I'm throwing the money at him every single weekend. Now I do play a little bit smarter I don't go by emotion when I go to picking or doing things like that, but I don't blame you for picking him because it's 4 times for some reason, right?
Exactly. Like I say, he had a good weekend. And then I looked at last year's numbers. And I'm like, yeah. It's like I had Beckman going to the finals in Funny Car. Yeah. Was it Beckman? Yeah, I had Beckman, and because of second round. So
that heat was pretty tricky, and man, Spencer's team was. I thought, watching them go round and round, I thought they were for sure going to pick it up, but in Top Fuel, I just feel like the whole weekend it was Langdon.
Yeah, he was definitely the class of the whole weekend. I don't know. It's hard to beat a Coletta car right now. Last year, you look at last year, last few years really, they've been the benchmark. Just like when you look at Funny Car, the Force cars have been the benchmark. Like if you're not running with the Forces, you're not winning.
Yeah. Don't even. And show up, have a good time, but you've got to stay within that bar of teams like that because they are, like I said, the absolute standard when it comes to showing up on the track, laying down the runs, and tuning a car to the conditions like we had this weekend.
Yep. I think you'll see, once we get to Pomona, I think, Leah showed she's doing really good. Leah will have a good weekend at Pomona. Pomona is probably the first spot I'll say you could probably see somebody besides them win. I think Maddie's got a good shot. I think Leah's got a good shot. I would love to see that as a final, by the way.
Dude, I thought we were about to get that. Yeah.
Crazy.
I thought we were about to get that Maddie and Leah final, which would have been really cool because then they were looking for the 200th winner for a woman in the national categories. I think it was the 200th, something like that. It was 100th. It was one of those benchmark milestones.
It was the 200th overall, just like as a whole.
Yeah, so we would have seen that, which would have set the stage for something really, really neat. just having put that aside, Leah coming back, a win for her would have been really, really cool. And to see her pull off something like that, and then it goes without saying, to see Maddie win her first one would be, she'd probably still be talking. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But because I think when you get back to Charlotte, I mean, you saw how dominant Langdon was there last year. But
yeah,
you're gonna have Tony Stewart come out. He's not gonna be quiet the whole season. Justin Ashley's not gonna be quiet the whole season. Those guys are gonna find their groove. They're gonna get back. The last 2 races have been hot. I mean, you were in Gainesville. It was sticky. It was humid. It was hot. You go to Arizona. It's hot. It's blistering.
It was it'll be fun to see them go somewhere, like you said, that isn't, Florida, Arizona, in the 2 hot spots in the world at this point right now. So I know Blake said it'll be in the 80s at Pomona, but that's a far cry from the 105, 108 like they just had in Arizona. So I always want to call it Phoenix, but I think the track is in Chandler. So I just always call it Arizona. But it'll be a far cry from that for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, and I think going to the funny car side, you see Austin Prock, and you're like, oh God, everybody's freaking out.
That's a whole other podcast. We could fill an hour.
I can sit here and talk for an hour and a half about this, but I know some of the guys over there, point blank, they're going to get it together. Yeah, I saw a guy over on Elon's podcast just trolling and trolling and trolling and trolling and trolling. It's like, come on, guy. Jimmy Prock, Thomas Prock, Austin Prock. That duo or that trio is a trio I wouldn't want to mess with.
It's Jordan Pippen and Rodman. You just don't bet against those guys. A trio like that. I mean, they're proven. They got the championship rings. Until he is not the reigning champion or just quits showing up at the track, which I highly doubt will happen. How could you bet against that team? I mean, Tasca's team to begin with, they weren't nothing to frown at. I mean, he was constantly running decent and running well, and was in the run to win races more often than not. And so it's like the combination of them two at some point will be the behemoth that everybody thought they were going to be, or at least the people that are stayed supporters of them thought they were going to be.
I think you saw it though. If people watched, Tasca struggled all last year a lot. I mean, they went to a new chassis when they got to Epping, I think. But they were still just up and down, up and down, up and down. I mean,
yeah.
You like I say, you've got new parts. You're not using everything that you had at Forces. I think I've heard, like on the broadcast, they're working on trying to get stuff together in-house to be able to machine and do some of their own stuff. It's like taking a Toyota part and putting it on a Chevrolet. You can make it work, but how well is it going to work?
Yeah, and for how long is it going to work?
Exactly. But figuring out how to make it work efficiently is what it's going to take. And when they do, everybody else holds on because it's going to be crazy.
And then, I think this point in time,
I'm talking as a Prock fan.
Not just a Prock fan, dude. You are the president of the Austin Prock fan club. Let's not sugarcoat this, okay, man? We know who you are. We know where you stand. This is a podcast that definitely stands with the Prock family, and it supports them through and through. I mean, we make no doubts about it. That's the guy. So we're not here to take any shots at anybody, and we definitely ain't here to doubt the man.
No, there's about 3 or 4 drivers. You take a shot at them, you've took a shot at me. So
yeah. So looking at Pro Stock, Dallas Glenn redeems himself from the season before, where he loses in the finals there. He comes home with the Wally. I think the points leader now coming out of the race sets a tone for the team again to set their direction of where they're going to go and how their season's going to go. They obviously are the reigning champions. Dallas Glenn is a force to be reckoned with. I think they are as great as Greg is and all that. I think they're the top dog, KB. I think they can, he just inches out Greg, and this is only my opinion. I think he inches out Greg just a little bit. I mean, they call him 00 for a reason. The guy's got killer reaction time. I was super excited to see him. I'm always looking for Sadie Glenn and her reaction when they pick up the W, because that's the first place the camera swings to is her and her. Oh, yeah, I don't know if you can see it. Let's see. Get my hair out of the way. This camera. Bam. Got my Driven Media shirt on today. So we rep them pretty hard here, man. I was excited to see Dallas and excited to see Sadie's reaction at the end of the show. What were your take on this weekend?
Yeah, I thought watching it, I was like, Dallas is the class of the field. Yeah. Going into Sunday. I put money on Dallas. I put money on Greg. Obviously, I lost the money on Greg, but I feel like the elite cars are just, they're right there.
Yep.
But it's just, it's either crappy draws or, whatever it may be. But they've inched closer this year. So I think you see the season move on. I think you see, Erica come out. Greg Stanfield's looked really good in qualifying, but just struggled to put it all together on race day or just had some bad luck. But like I said, Dallas. I thought Dallas on Saturday, after winning Too Fast, Too Tasty, I thought Dallas is probably going to go into Sunday and win. He just seemed consistent, and without a mistake, he was going to win.
For sure.
Not to knock somebody like a Cody Coughlin and those guys. They're good, but just when Dallas Glenn's on it, and he wants it more than anything, it's hard to beat that. But
yeah, I think worth noting as well with the weekend of Pro Stock. Something that stood out to me was Matt Latino's comments when he was like, "No more Mr. Nice Guy." He came in and did an incredible job staging the car and knocked out Matt Hartford round one, the winner in Gainesville, and the guy that's showing up to his home track. I thought that was pretty cool of him. Last year, I know he was the new guy, the newcomer, kind of had a puppy face. And to see him come out and show his muscle, like, man, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do things this year. If you don't like it, shove it. That's a cool attitude, I think, coming from their camp. Something that will, translate to more wins on the track because, you're not trying to make friends. You're trying to win races. And, that was pretty cool to see from him. I from a fan standpoint, I absolutely appreciated that.
Yeah, He's one of my bracket busters. He's one of the ones I always, if somebody's gonna bust one up, it's gonna be him. He did a good job last year, filling in for his dad with, I guess it's his dad, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. So filling in for him, and running, and then I think they both ran a little bit towards the end of the season. I feel like he's one of those guys. It'll come together. It'll be like Corey Reed. Corey Reed had it come together at one race, and it was just, he had a good run. Speaking of Corey Reed, congratulations, Corey Reed.
He just won.
He won this past weekend at IHRA.
Yep.
Got to meet him. That was pretty cool.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's right. You made it out to the track this weekend and got some experience in the IHRA drag racing scene. How was that?
It was good. I won't say great. I seen a lot of people online. I'm not going to knock drag racing. I want to see the whole sport as a whole grow. But I don't know. It was a lot, snowmobiles, a little bit of everything. Yeah, it was just kind of like that. There was a bunch of classes And we waited till Saturday to run every round of every class. And
there's a lot to weed through when it comes to the classes of IHRA. I will say I do like the snowmobiles.
They're cool.
They're sick, man. Like, I don't know. There's just something about watching a snowmobile go down pavement. Like, it's pretty enticing to watch.
Yeah, I didn't realize they did burnouts until I stood up there and I watched. It went through the water box. I'm like, all right, they just pull up. No, he's sitting here just standing from side to side with it, just moving it back and forth.
Yeah, they're like a pro stock motorcycle out there, but completely different. But I if you listen to the show, I'm a pro stock motorcycle fanatic. So those guys right there on the snowmobiles, they've got a special place in my heart. If for some reason NHRA brought them out, I would not be mad about that for sure.
Yeah, I saw DJ posted this right here.
Yep.
And I think that you're not wrong by any stretch, because there's a lot. Like when I go to Charlotte, we're usually there from Wednesday to, we stay till Monday morning and leave. But when you're there at the track on Friday, from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, you hear nothing but cars running, and it's just class after class after class after class after class.
Yeah,
and
you get your money's worth if you show up to the track early.
And some of them you're like, what's the difference? Because I don't know what the difference is. So if there was a way to tell me, because I'm an idiot, hey, this is this is that, and I don't know. But
I think the NHRA.TV does a good job of kind of discussing the different categories. If you're watching from home or on your phone on the go or whatever, they definitely do a good job at going through and making sure that they kind of describe the classes. Oh, dude, I can't imagine after a full weekend of just going to the races as a fan, but as a media member every day would be sitting through all the different interviews, getting up there early enough to watch the first round of the sportsman classes and not missing a beat on any of them. Man, Dugenais, shout out to you, man, for sure, because we've only been doing this thing for a little skosh of a time, and so we haven't had the opportunity to spend an entire weekend as a media member. Hopefully that's something we can do in the future, but kudos to you, man. Kudos to everybody out there, like the Allie Blands, like you said, all the people that are, Elon. Can you imagine what his weekend's like, dude? Good golly.
I encourage you, when you go to Sonoma, watch the pits, because you see him, he just he's all over the place. And Nikki, if you meet Nikki, she's all over the place. She's at the starting line, she's in the pits, she's all over. She's everywhere. And then you've got you got Allie, you got Courtney, they're all over the place. Like you hear them in the the tower, and you're like, oh, they just hang out there in the air conditioning all day. No, they're moving.
I know, like, so Courtney, she does the pro mod interviews, and she's doing this and that, and it's like, man, and you want to talk about having your hand on a hat in more than one way, dude. That's insane.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure she still does some stuff with Elite as well. Yeah. Because I think she was over a lot of their stuff at one point in time. But yeah, there's a lot more that goes on than you realize, and I didn't realize it until Charlotte last spring, when all this happened.
Yeah.
And then I went to Bristol, and you went up in the media room, and you're watching everybody that's in there, and everybody's going just back and forth. And like, I watched Courtney Enders was just in and out, and she was running, jumping on a golf cart. They were down in the pits, back up, back and forth. I'm like, that is exhausting.
Dude, just doing this podcast is exhausting, and we're sitting at our home. I mean, dude, listen. Kudos to all you guys out there that are killing it in the media world. If you guys are watching this and you've seen the Not Bland show popping up here in the comments, and you haven't checked out his show, make sure you go and do that. Dude's name is super cool, great guy. We've had him on the show a few episodes ago. Another guy that's, like I said, out there just killing it in the media world, along with all the other people we've discussed here. So make sure you guys go check out his show. He's also on the Competition Plus Power Hour. And yeah, make sure you guys check out all the people that are doing this thing, keeping this wheel, this podcasting wheel moving in the sport, because that's what's going to keep, us relevant in this thing. If you guys stopped watching, then, why are we even on this? Why are we doing this? I mean, I know we do it for the love and all that, but we need you guys out here supporting us, not just our show, but all the others, and tuning in when you can, liking, subscribing, sharing, and doing all that fun stuff. We're going to wrap this thing up here. Patrick, is there anything that you wanted to touch on before we close out?
I don't think so. I think we got, a couple weeks off until we get to Pomona.
Yeah, and
so
a little birdie in my ear tells me that next week's episode is going to be great. We're going to have an outlaw on the show, huh? That's right, man. Spencer Hyde will be joining us next week. That's if you guys stay tuned to the end, we appreciate you. And you got that little nugget of information that next week we'll be tuning in live with Spencer Hyde.
Yep.
Right
It'll
on.
be fun, man.
It'll be a blast. All right, Patrick. Thank you, beer guy. Thanks for joining us again and being a great co-host like you are. And everybody else that's been tuned in, locked in, and sharing the heck out of our show. We really appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so that way you never miss a beat with the show. And we'll be back with you guys next week. Take care.
See you
Peace.
guys.